Shalom Mishpachim, welcome to His Narrow Bridge. Our time together today is meant to immerse ourselves in the Word of Yahweh. It is meant to be a personal time of connection to the Word for each of us. I will read each word as translated in English in an interlinear Hebrew Bible. These shows are pre-recorded, so I will be in chat when they air. Feel free to use the chat to post anything that comes to your mind as we read the word. We will begin with prayer, followed by time for each of us to say our own personal prayers. Our beloved friend Alan Horvath taught us, make Elohim number one on a list of one. We pray in the name of Elohim, which includes Yahweh, Yeshua, and the Ruach HaKodesh. Thank you, Elohim, for our lives and all you provide. We ask for a hedge of protection around our mishpacha as we pray and study. We love you dearly. We are your children. We come to you with questions as we seek our personal relationships with you. Please help us learn. If any darkness enters our time together, we ask you now to rebuke it. We will now listen to your word as we immerse ourselves in it and let it speak to us. Luke chapter 9. And Yeshua called his 12 and gave power and authority to them over all demons and over all sicknesses to heal. And he sent them to preach the kingdom of Elohim, to heal the sick. And he said to them, do not take anything with you on the road, neither a staff, nor a wallet, nor bread, nor money, nor 2 coats should you have. And into whatever house that you enter, there remain and depart from there. And he who does not receive you, when you depart from that city, shake off even the dust from your feet for a testimony against them. Verse 6. Then the shlichim departed and were going around in the villages and in the cities and preaching hope, and were healing in every place. And Herodas the tetrarch heard of all the things that were done by their hands, and he was amazed because some men were saying that Yochanan had risen from the dead. And others were saying that Eliyahu had appeared, and others that a prophet from the first prophets has arisen. And Herodas said, I have cut off the head of Yochanan, but whom is this person I hear things about? And he had wanted to see him. Verse 10, and when the shlichim returned, they reported everything that they did to Yeshua. And he took them privately to a deserted place of Bethsaida. And when the crowds realized it, they went after him. And he received them and would speak with them about the kingdom of Elohim. And those who had need for healing, he would heal. And when the day began to wane, his disciples approached and said to him, dismiss the crowds, that they may go to the villages around us and to the hamlets to dwell in them and to find food for themselves, because we are in a deserted place. Yeshua said to them, give them something to eat. But they said, we do not have more than 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, unless we go and buy food for all these people. Verse 14, for there were about 5,000 men. Yeshua said to them, make them to sit down in groups, 50 people in a group. Footnote 53, a picture that evokes the memory of Shavuot, Pentecost. Each group consists of 50 persons. Each person represents a day in the count between Pesach and Shavuot that Yeshua will host according to the 50-day requirement in Torah. So a comment, between Pesach and Shavuos, we count 7 weeks. That's 49 days. And the number 50 is significant because it is the Jubilee number. So you can count years in groups of 50 and make all kinds of speculative predictions from that. Verse 15, and the disciples did thus and made all of them to sit. And Yeshua took those 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish and gazed into heaven and blessed them and broke them and gave them to his disciples to set before the crowds. And all of them ate and were satisfied. And they took up the fragments. What was left over was 12 baskets. And while he prayed alone with his disciples, he asked them and said, who do the crowds say about me that I am? They answered and said to him, some say Yochanan the Immerser, and others Eliyahu, and others, but a certain prophet from the first prophets has arisen. He said to them, but who do you say that I am? Shimon answered and said, the Mashiach of Elohim. And he reproved them and warned them that they should not tell this to anyone. Then he said to them that he, the Son of Man, would suffer many things, and that the elders and chief priests and scribes would reject him, and they would kill him, and on the 3rd day he would arise. Verse 23, and he would say before everyone, he who desires to follow after me should deny himself and every day take up his stake and follow after me. For whoever desires to make his soul live will destroy it, but whoever destroys his soul for my sake, this one it will make live. For what does it benefit a man who gains the whole world, but destroys or loses his soul? Whoever is ashamed of me and of my words, the Son of Man will be ashamed of him when he comes with his set apart messengers in the glory of his Father. Truly I say to you that there are men who stand here who will not taste death until they see the kingdom of Elohim. Verse 28. And it happened about 8 days after these words that Yeshua took Shimon and Yaakov and Yochanan and went up to a mountain to pray. And while he prayed, the appearance of his face was changed, and his clothes were whitened and shining. And behold, 2 men were speaking with him, who were Moshe and Eliyahu, who appeared in glory. And they were talking about his departure, which was about to be fulfilled in Jerusalem. Shimon and those with him were heavy with sleep and barely awake. And they saw his glory and those 2 men who were standing with him. And when they began to leave, Shimon said to Yeshua, Rabbi, it is good for us that we stay here and we make 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moshe, and one for Eliyahu. And he did not know what he was saying. And when he said these things, a cloud came and overshadowed them. And they were afraid when they saw Moshe and Eliyahu enter into the cloud. Just a comment here, these shelters that Shimon Kifa is talking about, Shimon Kifa is Peter, um, those are Sukkot, so they are related to all the symbolism of the holiday of Sukkot, the booths in the wilderness that the Israelites used when leaving Egypt. It's all connected. Verse 35, and a voice came from the cloud that said, this is my beloved Son, hear him. And when the voice came, Yeshua was found alone. And they kept silent, and they did not tell to anyone the thing that they saw in those days. And it happened on the next day, when they descended from the mountain, large crowds met up with them, and a certain man from the crowds cried out and said, "Teacher, I beg you to take notice of me. He is my only son." And a spirit seizes him, and suddenly he cries out and gnashes his teeth and foams, and with difficulty it departs from him when it has tormented him. Verse 40. And I begged your disciples to cast it out, and they were not able. And Yeshua answered and said, O generation that is not faithful and is perverse, how long must I be among you and endure you? Bring your son here. Footnote 54. Generation is, O tribe, family of mine. And 55, the comment on the word endure. The root of this word, sebar, also means hope or good news. Yeshua's point, using this same word, is that until people know the hope or good news, he must endure seeing them suffer needlessly and in ignorance. Now, this is an important point because suffering is not the intention of life. Verse 42. And while he was bringing him, that demon cast him down and bruised him, and Yeshua rebuked that unclean spirit, and he healed the boy and gave him to his father. And all of them were amazed by the greatness of Elohim. And while everyone was amazed at all that he had done, Yeshua said to his disciples, You place these words in your ears, for the Son of Man will be delivered into the hands of men. And they did not comprehend these words because it was hidden from them, so that they would not know it. And they were afraid to ask him about this word. And entered into them the thought as to who indeed is the greater among them. But Yeshua knew the thought of their heart, and took a boy and set him by him. Verse 48, and said to them, Whoever receives a child like this one in my name, he receives me. And whoever receives me receives him who sent me. For anyone who is least among all of you, this one will be great. And Yochanan answered and said, O Master, we saw a man who was casting out demons in your name, and we forbade him because he did not follow us after you. Footnote 56. Kaburis has Shaida, whereas 1905 and other Peshitta manuscripts have Diwa. This proves both words have interchangeable meanings in the same contextual place, that of demon or unclean spirit. This reading in the ancient record affirms the literal rendering and denies the assertion by a few modern commentators like Lamsa that one of these terms could refer to insane humans not under demonic influence. So someone could write a dissertation on that. Verse 50. And Yeshua said to them, Do not forbid him, for he that is not against you is for you. And it happened that when the days of his journey were fulfilled, he hardened his face to go to Jerusalem. And he sent messengers before his face, and they came and entered a village of the Samaritans in order to prepare for him. And they did not receive him because his face was set to go to Jerusalem, or Jerusalem. And when Yaakov saw it, and Yochanan, his disciples, they said to him, Our master, do you desire us to speak and have fire descend from heaven and consume them, as Eliyahu did also? 57, footnote 57, Yeshua's Talmudim take their lead from Eliyahu, or Elijah, who defied the priests of Baal by invoking and declaring the sovereign name of Yahweh. See 2 Kings 1, 9 through 16. And the king sent to him a captain of 50, and with his 50 men. So he went up to him, and there he was sitting on the top of a hill, And he spoke to him, Man of Elohim, the king has said, Come down. So answered Elijah and said to the captain of 50, And if a man of Elohim I am, then let come down fire from heaven and consume you and your 50 men. And came down fire from heaven and consumed him and his 50. And and he sent to him captain of 50 another, and with his 50 men he answered and said to him, Man of Elohim, thus has said the king, quickly come down. So answered Elijah and said to them, If a man of Elohim I am, let come down fire from heaven and consume you and your 50 men. And came down the fire of Elohim from Hashemayim, and consumed him and his 50. And again he sent a captain of 50 third, and with his 50 men, and went up and came the captain of 50 the third, and fell on his knees before Elijah, and pleaded with him, and said to him, Man of Elohim, see, Ish is man, Ish is fire. Let be precious, please, my life. Nefesh. Wow. Nafshi is my life, which is really my soul, and the life of servants of yours. These 50 in your sight. Look, has come down fire from heaven and burnt up too the captains of 50 first, and with their 50. But now let be precious my life in your sight. And said the Malach, Yahweh, the Malach of Yahweh, to Elijah, Go down with him, not to be afraid of him. So he arose and went down with him to the king. And he said, to him, Thus says Yahweh, because that you have sent messengers to inquire of Baal-zebub, the Elohai of Ekron, it is because there is no Elohim in Israel to inquire of his word. Therefore, the bed to which you have gone up, on that not you shall come down from, but surely you shall die. Verse 55, and he turned around and rebuked them and said, You do not realize of which spirit you are, for the Son of Man did not come to destroy souls, but to make them live. And they went on to another village. And while they were going on the road, a man said to him, I will come after you to the place that you go, my master. Yeshua said to him, Foxes have holes, and birds of Shamayim a home, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Verse 59, and he said to another, Come after me. And he said to him, My master, allow me to go first and bury my father. Yeshua said to him, Leave the dead to bury their dead, and you go and declare the kingdom of Elohim. Now, this is a tough message. Footnote 58. Some scholars postulate that let the dead bury their dead shouldn't be taken literally, but is better understood as let me take care of my father until he dies. However, a key is in the next line where Yeshua responds, But you go and proclaim the kingdom of Elohim. Therefore, Yeshua's statement, Let the dead bury their dead, helps the man realize the supreme importance of the kingdom. In the meantime, the man would be proclaiming the kingdom, and perhaps, like some other sent out ones of Yeshua, even he may have been raising the dead. In the next chapter, Luke 10:2, Yeshua appointed 70 and sent them out to all regions and cities that he was about to go. A second key is the urgency in which the man is making his request, with a promise to return and follow at a later date. Yeshua's disciples had just left a village of the Samaritans, where they were getting ready to call down fire upon it. They just came from a major trial and were on the road to their next destination when they met the man, and there was tension in the air. What might happen in the next village? In verse 61, another said, "Let me go and reassure my household that I will come." All these things happened in the context of returning to Jerusalem, Luke 9:51. Perhaps some were even pondering about trouble ahead with the religious establishment in Jerusalem. Perhaps some were thinking of creative ways to bypass what they imagined to be a looming disaster. The reality was that those who agreed and said, "Hineni, here I am," and went out in Yeshua's name, returned to him with great joy. Luke 10:7. See also Matthew 8:22 footnote. Another dissertation, but something to really chew on. Yes, COT, chew on this. Verse 61. Another said to him, "I will come after you, my master, but first allow me to go and reassure my household, and I will come." Yeshua said to him, "No man places his hand upon the handle of a plow and looks backwards and is useful to the kingdom of Elohim." So Yeshua didn't come to give us happy messages. He came to give us the tough messages.
The Scarlet Letter.
Yeah, why not?
Honestly, it's kind of trashy.
Okay, well, so, what is it about?
Well, it's about this woman, Hester Prynne, who lives in colonial Boston, and she believes that her husband has drowned, so she has this affair with a minister, and she falls in love with him, and she gets pregnant, but then her husband comes back, and so she's publicly shamed and forced to wear a scarlet letter A as a symbol of her adultery.
Okay, so yeah, I guess that does sound pretty dull.
You know what, Ship?
What?
It isn't dull. It isn't safe or prim or proper or well-behaved. Actually, it's ribald.
This is Emily.
It's okay. Nobody's here.
Emily looks back to see Sam undoing his tie. He runs over to Sue and kisses her passionately.
I was sorry to hear that you've been sick. Are you better now?
Sick? Oh. Oh, I see. That's what Sam's been telling everyone. It's so nice of you to come all this way.
Oh, Mary, it's nothing. It's been far too long. And it felt wrong, you know? To see so much of Sam and so little of you.
Well, most people see more of Sam. What happy childhoods we both had. Yes, things were difficult. Although, looking back on it now, it seems like those were the easiest years of my life.
Really? Are things very hard?
Oh, you know, marriage, children, it's all very challenging. Sam Jr. is just like his father.
Is he? In what way?
Too much energy.
Mary sets her teacup aside.
You and Austin, you still don't have children?
Sue shakes her head.
Well, I suppose that makes things easier in a way, especially since you're so active in society. It's been quite something reading about all of your salons. Your home sounds truly elegant. The Evergreens, it's really become the center of the world.
Yes. Well, obviously Sam has been a huge part of that, giving us such nice write-ups. He's been so generous.
Indeed. Well, Knowing Sam, he must be getting something in return. In return? Yes. Some Amherst lady has caught his eye, no doubt.
Sue's mouth moves.
But for now, I'm very glad he was able to use his influence to help you. I've always loved you, Susie. You were such a dear friend.
Sue smiles tightly and looks down.
Don't let people forget. You're still my husband.
No one here is under any illusions about that.
The Reverend anoints Billy.
Austin Dickinson, by consenting to be godfather of this child, you are acknowledging your love of his mother Jane, as well as your love of the child himself. You are making a commitment that this child shall never go unloved in this world.
Sue rises from her pew.
Do you accept your role as godfather of this child?
She leaves the church.
I do.
Then let us pray.
Sue has betrayed you with Sam. I saw them in here. I'm so sorry.
Austin exhales.
Did you not hear what I said? Sue cheated.
I know about that already.
You do.
Yeah. Known for weeks.
Emily shakes her head.
Well, great.
She lifts her eyebrows and smiles cynically.
I guess that means you know everything then. You know about Sam. You know about the baby.
What baby?
Emily's smug expression vanishes.
Emily? What baby?
I can't say.
Yes, you can. You just said it. Emily! What baby?
Sue's. And yours.
Sue had a baby?
No, she didn't.
Emily shuts her eyes and Austin backs up.
When?
At your wedding. She was pregnant, but then she miscarried. I'm sorry. Austin, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said anything.
Austin rests his hands on a table and looks away from her.
Can you please say something? Austin. Just say something.
He throws a vase against the fireplace.
Dad was right. I'm a failure. I'm a total utter failure. I'm a joke.
No, that is not true.
Yes, it is, Emily. Yes. You don't understand. Nothing I do works. Everything I touch breaks.
He picks up a vase shard, then drops it.
I've been trying so hard to find meaning, to find something that will make Sue love me. But nothing I do will ever matter. I'm a joke, Emily. A fraud. With a hole inside that nothing can ever fill.
She kneels beside him in front of the fire. She leans on him and lays her arm on his shoulders.
I like a look of agony. Because I know it's true, Austin. You are not a fraud.
They sit together by the fire.
In fact, you are the most genuine person I know.
Firelight flickers on their faces.
You are so full of love. You have so much love to give, and none of us could survive without it. Least of all me.
She gives him a serious look.
Do you really mean that?
Don't I always say what I mean?
When I married Austin and we became sisters, the only bond between us was your words. You started writing so much, and I was the only one who ever saw any of it.
I'm not your problem anymore, Sue. You can go back to your perfect parlor with your fancy dresses and be as exquisitely empty as you like, because I will never make you feel anything again. And without me,
Sue raises her eyebrows.
What? Without me? I don't think you know how to have feelings.
Sue frowns.
The only time I feel things is when I'm with you.
She gives Emily's back a defiant glare.
She dealt her pretty words like blades. How glittering they shone. I pushed you towards him because I wanted to escape what I was feeling. And I slept with him because I didn't want to feel it. There is so much that I don't want to feel. The biggest thing that I don't want to feel is what?
Emily looks at her. She stands.
Is what?
She goes to Sue.
What is it, Sue? Just say it! Is that I'm in love with you. I don't believe you. It's true. It's not true. Nothing you say to me is true. You're not even Sue anymore. You're a new person, a fake person. I don't even recognize you, and everything you say to me is a lie. Emily, stop lying to me! I love you! And I felt you in the library because you're always with me. I can't escape from you because the only true thing I will ever feel is my love for you.
Emily grips Sue's throat against the door. She lets go. Sue walks her backward into a wall and kisses her deeply.
Ship is engaged to Lavinia.
Wait, what? You're joking. No. Congrats!
The engagement is off. I don't have good luck with women. You're a domestic goddess, Mrs. D. Honestly, you live up to every ideal of womanhood.
She gives him an appreciative look.
That's truly very kind.
I want a wife just like you. That's why I'm here, trying to make up with Lavinia. Because who could be more like a mother than her daughter?
Mrs. Dickinson smiles.
I thought the engagement was off.
Listen, if there's a civil war coming, I want someone to love me through it.
She nods and smiles warmly. Ship grabs her in a tight hug.
Oh.
She pats his back.
Thank you, Mr. Shipley.
In her room, Lavinia paints in her undergarments and robe, the robe falling from her shoulders.
Lavinia, we need to talk.
Ship, you need to knock.
The country is on the verge of war, and I don't want there to be any conflict between us.
What are you talking about?
We gotta work this out, Vinny. You're the perfect wife for me, and I know it.
He steps toward her.
Let's get married.
She looks to the side.
Ship, we broke up because you can't ever accept me for who I am. One minute I'm too sexual, the next I'm too intellectual. You'll never love the real Lavinia.
I will. I mean, I do, Vinny. How can I prove it to you? How can I show you that nothing you could ever do would turn me away?
Arms folded over her chest, she smirks.
I have an idea.
Later.
Taste my whip.
What?
Lavinia licks the end of a riding crop. She reaches to tap the end of his nose. In her room, Ship and Lavinia have sex.
I thought we had fun last night.
I'm glad we worked things out, baby.
Me too.
So now you can say goodbye to your whole family? Because we're moving to New Orleans.
Wait, what?
We can talk about this later.
So, what is this insanity you're spouting about us moving to New Orleans?
Nola, babe, Nola.
I don't care what you call it. I'm not moving there.
Yes, you are. I sent a telegram to a dude I know down there in real estate, Joseph Lyman.
Joseph Lyman, my ex?
Oh, that's right. I forgot you know that dude. Lyman. Great guy. Wired him all my money. He got us a house.
Joseph Lyman sold us a house?
Well, it's more of a shack.
You spent all of your money on a shack in New Orleans, and now you expect me to just drop everything and come with you?
Well, yeah. It's the 19th century. You're my wife. I make the decisions.
Okay, have you been listening to anything that I've been saying to you this whole time?
Babe, Nola is so chill. You're gonna love it.
There is a civil war starting. I am not moving to Louisiana. I'd never see my family again. Not to mention I'd be on the wrong side of history.
Hey, the South's not all bad. The plantation system, it's more like an aristocracy.
Slavery is bad, Ship.
I thought you were all about keeping an open mind.
Not in this case.
Come on, it'll be charming. You'll be a Southern belle.
I am a shrewd Yankee witch. Respect that.
I don't get it. You want me to leave you here and move down to NOLA and marry some Cotton King's daughter?
You can marry me. We just have to stay in Amherst and keep things loose and non-exclusive.
Forget it. Forget it, man. I'm already in way over my head on this shack.
He storms out.
What?
Jane's friends eye her.
Am I making a mistake?
Yes.
Absolutely.
He wanted to marry you, Lavinia. Now you're gonna end up a full-blown spinster.
Lavinia stares, then runs out of the room.
Same sheep, different day.
They look at the forged sheep painting. Near the door, Lavinia catches up to Ship.
Ship. Okay. You go to New Orleans.
No.
He faces her.
Marry someone else. Have kids. All that shit. But you know, and I know,
Yeah?
that I will always be the most interesting girl you've ever loved.
Ship kisses her.
For more information about these videos, look at the video description and click more. You can then have links to my YouTube channel and the YouTube playlist, which has all the Aramaic English New Testament videos, Bible Hub links, and Odiote. So this is useful because you can click a chapter and go word by word through the scriptures and get details about each word and where they are used throughout the Bible.